Hello tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to be looking at the newest character to come to us via the Battle Pass, and that is the Parasite of Mortrex. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or use my friend code, as it really does help me out. So, what is it about this Parasite of Mortrex that makes it so good? Well, it's the final piece in the puzzle for the Tyranid faction, and although you can see here it only has the flying keyword, it will also have the synapse keyword when it finally launches. They've actually made a change which Games Workshop have made to the Parasite for the tabletop, and that is going to be reflected in the game, which I think is a huge plus, because this character without synapse probably wouldn't be used at all. With synapse, however, the Tyranids are going to like it, just like they liked having the Patamine on their team. So what can it actually do? Well, here is my normal breakdown at the various points, and its active ability, It Itches, will suppress and push an adjacent enemy unit and all enemy units adjacent to both the target and the Parasite of Mortrex 1 hex backwards. Enemy steppables on the affected hexes are destroyed. That's an interesting point. I'm not sure how many enemy steppables there are, but it is something to bear in mind. It will then summon a Ripper Swarm in each hex vacated with this ability. So you're going to be looking at a maximum of 3 Ripper Swarms being summoned. Those Ripper Swarms can then immediately attack, and then this final bit kind of needs explanation. It says, if the Parasite of Mortrex is within synapse range, it may move again after activating this ability. What this will mean when it goes live is it will always be able to move again after activating this ability, because of course it is a synapse creature. And you've got the stats of all the Ripper Swarms there as well at the various points. On top of that, its passive ability, the Barbed Oviposter, will mean when the Parasite of Mortrex defeats a unit it targeted that is not a mechanical unit, it will summon a Ripper Swarm in the defeated unit's hex. And this is actually quite nice. It means if you don't kill it and your winged prime is still on the battlefield, you'll be summoning in the Hormigant, but if you do kill it, you're going to be summoning in those Ripper Swarms. So whether this kills someone or not, you're going to get a summoned unit on the battlefield, which I think is very cool indeed. So now let's have a little look at it in action. As with all my tests with new characters, we have to make sure how well they can stand up to a sniper shot from Calandis. There was a crit there, and he's still on a decent amount of health. Now obviously if Calandis was on the high ground, there probably wouldn't be a Parasite there, but at least that is something to bear in mind. He's not going to die to just getting sniped once. And then we've surrounded him with 3 rather ugly looking characters, and we're going to use It Itches on Boss Golgorts. Now you'll notice the other 2 were pushed directly backwards, but Golgorts wasn't, and the reason being that Golgorts is counted as a big target, and as he's not moved, there's no place for the Ripper Swarms. So again, something to bear in mind for when you're trying to position your Parasite to summon them in. You really don't want them next to a big target, because you're not going to summon anything. One thing to note here is I can't move the Parasite at the moment because it is out of synapse range, but as I mentioned before, it will be a synapse creature and therefore able to move on the life system. And the Ripper Swarms, because they do physical damage and because Boss Golgorts has such high armor, they didn't do much here. So this ability is going to be best used against the weaker characters that you can easily take out rather than a tough one. Unfortunately, what I can't show you is on attack, what will happen on the life system is because we've got the wing prime, the Hormigant would now appear and also attack. Unfortunately, that isn't present on this version of the test system, but I will hopefully have something to show you when I revisit the Tyranid faction as a whole for use in the faction Taunt Ruiners. What I can show you though is if the Parasite of Mortrex now attacks Incisors, the Ripper Swarm will come in, and unlike the active ability, they're just summoned and they will not attack anyone who is next to them. So where can I start with this Parasite of Mortrex? Well, unfortunately I don't think it's as good as the Patamine, which the Tyranids had on loan from the Genestealer cults. And the main reason for this is it doesn't have infiltrate, so you can't use him to go towards those characters who are on Overwatch. However, having said that, the one thing it does have on it in its favour is the fact its active ability pushes characters around. And that ability to push characters is actually very good indeed when it comes to something like the Faction Tournament Arena, or indeed Guild Wars, because it allows you to push the characters that you want to attack in a direction that you want them to go to either make your attacks better or to allow you to attack someone else. So whilst it's not as good as the pay to mine, it certainly has a role. Plus, this guy can fly, which means it can get to the back of the enemy and push them back towards your other Tyranids, which is very useful when it comes to, say, using the Tyrant Guard to lock someone in place, or to get closer to the Neurothrope because it's got its shorter movement distance. So if you're a Tyranid fan, and this guy is going to be one that you are going to want to unlock, but it's not going to change the world. The other thing is that it is a flying character, and it's got synapse. So when your Winged Prime wants to bring in its Alpha Warrior with its primary ability, you're going to have a 2 hex range around this guy to also bring it in. And that could be used to attack healers or support characters who are normally hidden at the back. And for that, I think it's actually really nice indeed. As I said, not quite as good as the pay to mine, but with its flying, it's certainly going to get to places that the pay to mine may not have been able to get to. So would I recommend getting this? I would say you would need to be a Tyranid fan to want this. And if you do get it, you're going to want to level it to silver or gold for use in the Faction Tournament Arena. Or indeed, the Guild Wars. I don't see this being a character that's going to be used in any guild raid whatsoever, at least not at the moment. Who knows what they've got planned for in the future. But it is a very unique character, and one that the Tyranids will certainly enjoy using as a faction. If you like these videos, then it would be much appreciated if you at least think about using my friend code, as it really does help me out. Or if you or your guilds are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown, as we'll always welcome new people into our midst. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.